like 2 minutes past. We weren't even doing anything. But we're live now. Yeah. And welcome
Okay,
to the
good.
Vomitorium. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. Sorry, guys. We were wrapped up in a conversation, which usually I want it to be the case, but at the same
Yeah.
time, my brother sent me a message, and I got distracted and forgot to turn us over to the live
Yeah.
screen.
So I was talking about Dream admitting to what he calls accidentally cheating.
How do
in his
you
record-setting
accidentally
Minecraft
cheat?
run. Well, I don't know yet.
It's like,
But
oh,
apparently
I play
back
with
in,
mods and I forgot to turn them off before doing my speed run.
I guess so. But yeah, so we were talking about how his run was technically possible, but statistically so improbable that I mean it wasn't accepted.
Yeah.
By the
It would be like the
speedrun
probability of your city's about to get nuked, but you don't even get nuked itself because right before it came down, you were killed by a bolt of lightning.
Yeah. Something like
That's
that.
how improbable it is.
Or just, yeah, I don't know. The probability of finding one particular grain of sand that's been, marked with a microscopic, I don't know, on a huge beach or something, it's ridiculously improbable. But so he wasn't. So he tweeted back in December. I guess this run was relatively recent, well, end of last year. Tweeted back in December that he did not agree. He claimed he didn't cheat, but that he respected the decision, which is a bit strange. It strikes me as something a cheater would say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because, I mean, what
Like,
would you say if you weren't a cheater?
I would have just owned up to it if I
To be
cheated,
like,
honestly, right? Like, especially if it was an
yeah, but
accidental cheat. Like, let's say he does sometimes play with mods on, and he realizes he forgot to take them off, right? Like, maybe the mods are there to line up the probability so he can see what it would be like if he was landing on the right, probable chance.
yeah,
Forgot to take them off, ran it with the mods on. You just own up to it and let them take it away. It's like, oh yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah, I think people would respect somebody for that, but I know Dream is also kind of a young guy too, so, and he's also really full of himself.
Well, what he's saying, I mean, I don't know this. So his tweet on December 31st was, I don't care about my run being verified. The mod's decision is respectable. Sorry for my behavior originally. I guess he was framed about it at first. At the end of the day, I understand the point of view. Mods respond respectfully, decide not to make a video to not prolong drama. YouTubers, here's why Dream is a scumbag. And then he says that he wasn't talking about Carl Jobst, who's, I guess, was a speedrunner who outlined why he thought it was cheating in a video. And then he says that he's spoken to Carl. He thinks he's a stand-up dude, and he has no grudge against him, but he still disagrees with the findings, etc., etc. To me, that whole set of tweets is scumbag behavior. If he knew he was cheating, which he basically admitted to. To be like, I mean, well, to cheat at all is scumbag behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, to not own up to it, and then
my problem thing with that too, right? Right, because that's the type of excuse that it's hard for me to actually say, because I've known a lot of people in those circumstances outside of, say, the internet, right, in real life, or I've been in those circumstances too, where you have like a very improbable, unbelievable story, right? And the mentality is like, I know this happened to me. I honestly don't give a shit whether you believe it or not. But once you start getting into the realms of records, it gets a little weird, right? Like, why would somebody hold on to something so much when you're dealing with, like, world records and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. And to me, okay, so here's his explanation. It's exactly what you said. He had a mod that he was using in videos just to demonstrate stuff.
Yeah.
To increase the spawn rates of Enderman and the pearl drop rates. Because I guess a pearl, and he needed pearls and blaze rods to get to the end. He updated Minecraft to 1.16, at which point he claims that he thought that the mod would not be in effect anymore after the update.
Okay, so it's basically what I was assuming happened, or his excuse would be, right?
Yeah. Which, okay, yeah. So he says like, "Oh, I was 99% sure." Well, obviously the 1% came to pass, and the mod was actually still in effect. So
I mean, if you're admitting there was a mod on there, that's basically owning up to it. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. And I guess I can buy, but if you're gonna do a speed run, it just seems like logical to just make absolutely certain that everything's on the up and up.
Yeah.
And I would be like if you do a speed run and suddenly you're like breaking records and it's like, wait, I had this mod on. Shoot, yeah, no, I don't know. It just seems like if I were actually a speedrunner, I would be so freaking careful.
Especially on the computer, right? Because you can have a second install of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not like on a console where, one, it's hard to mod a console anyway, but if you do mod it, you basically can only have one instance of a game. You can have different users using it, but whatever the install is, that's the install. On a computer, though, you could go in. When you reinstall it, you can install it under a different folder name in your programs file, run that one up, create a different shortcut, one that says modded Minecraft, one that says vanilla Minecraft, and you can only ever have to use that vanilla one for official stuff. Like, it's not that hard on a computer.
Yeah. I mean,
especially for a game that takes up no data.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I believe his explanation in that I guess I hope that he's not like permanently banned from the speedrun category. I don't think he is. And so, although it's funny, like the fact that they didn't accept the run, but like there's still that 1/1,000,000,000% chance means that they almost certainly didn't ban him. But now that he's admitted it, are they going to ban him now?
Well, maybe they won't because he's admitted it, right? That's the real thing. Like, if he kept fighting back against it, maybe with his attitude, be like, dude, we know this wasn't legit. We can't prove it, but we know it wasn't legit. So,
yeah. Why did it take him 5 months to admit it?
Yeah, he should have done it sooner. Like, he should have realized what was up sooner.
Yeah, especially after Carl Job's video basically proving that he had this mod activated.
Or even worse.
Should have been like, ooh.
He should have noticed something was up after Donkey's video, because maybe most people haven't seen Carl's, right? He's a big guy, but Donkey has a much bigger audience, right?
Yeah.
And it's like once all that attention was brought to it, maybe he's like, something's up.
Mm-hmm. I would be. I wouldn't want my run to be tainted. I'd be like, wait a second. Am I doing something wrong? And I'd see if I can correct it, or figure out what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a speedrunner, but if I was, I would just be so freaking careful about stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't really care about Minecraft speedruns either, but I do care about speedrunning as like an art form, right? Because it's kind of like it's like an Olympic athletic sport in the realm of video games.
Yeah.
And there tends to be two types of speedrunners in general. There tends to be like really egotistical, talented people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some really egotistical, talented people, almost to the border of sociopathy, right? And then the other is like autistic people that are just like really good at spending thousands of hours on something and repeat without it bothering them and can perfect it, right? Those tend to be like the two groups of people that do speedrunning.
Yeah. I think there's confusion about your name.
Oh.
In the chat. Yes,
Yeah.
This is the metal.
There was actually news. We didn't talk about the heavy metal magazine thing.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's kind of... we wouldn't be able to talk too much about it. Like, it would be a very short thing. They're just kind of being assholes.
Yeah. Once that happened last week, who cares?
Yeah. It's just one more publication down the drain.
It's a little bit odd that an indie, I mean, it's not related to anything.
I wouldn't call it indie, though, because Heavy Metal Magazine is a Canadian publication, but it's been around for quite some time, and it was a pretty big name.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, comic book publication insults fans, and Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Happens every week.
It's just one more publication down the drain. That's all that is.
Yeah.
It's like, we've grown up. You guys haven't. It's like, no, actually, it seems like you guys are the ones being childish.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all we have to say about that. It's like, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? So speedrunning in general. My view of speed running, as a community, I guess you call it, has evolved. Like, when I first started looking into it, it seemed really elitist and nepotistic. Like, at first, it seemed like they were always skeptical of newcomers, and there were just this royalty that, I mean, it was kind of like the what's his name, the King of Kong guy. Billy Mitchell. Yeah. It's sort of like, seemed like everyone in the speed running community, and it seemed like this to me at first, was a Billy Mitchell.
I don't think on the whole it was ever like that. In fact, speedrunning tends to be pretty welcoming of people, because not everybody who participates in speedrunning are trying to go for a world record, because they know most people aren't. They're just trying to participate. It's like, this is the fastest I've personally ever been able to go, right?
Well, the more I've looked at, and the more I've looked into it, the more I don't feel that way anymore. Yeah. Because all they're looking for, it does seem like they're welcoming to new faces, new names. But what they're looking for is somebody who clearly is putting in the work, because speedrunning the top games is not, it's simply not possible, like, quickly. It takes months and even years of practice to get at the top of these leaderboards.
Yeah. And so, not everybody's going to be able to, because it also requires certain, like, genetic dispositions too, right? Like, you have to be in, like, at least the top, the top 80th percentile or higher of reaction time. If you're not in that area, you're not going to be able to compete with people. You also have to have the disposition for retaining muscle memory quicker too, because you're going to be losing it a lot if you don't have it. There's a lot of, like, different, you need to be in this place and that if you're going to be in the top scores. Yeah. So, and I think most people understand that too. Like, The speedrunning community on the whole tends to be very like realistic about things, and they know most people are just trying to participate and do the best that they're doing. Not everybody's going out for the top scores.
Yeah. But you could even be in the top 99th percentile in all those things, and you're not going to be a top Mario Brothers speedrunner
the time into it.
In a month.
Yeah.
It's going to take you months and months, if not years and years of practice. And I'm beginning to understand that. The more like of these videos that I watch and stuff, it's not that they're elitist, like just to be a, good old boys club. It's that they understand what kind of dedication and practice it takes to get to the top of these.
Yeah,
and when some new guy comes in out of the blue,
it's a sport, right?
And sets a record.
Even somebody like an Olympic athlete is not really going to be the best runner in the world after like a month of practice. People like that have been like running their whole lives, and they've been working up for that. And it's like, hey, I'm like 22 now. I'm going to go cream some people in the Olympics.
Yeah. And if you do, then there's reason to just at least double check and be like, well, are they juicing? Are they have drugs in it? What's going on here? So, the more I watch, the more I understand why they're very careful and very skeptical about newcomers just coming in and just breaking records. Just, out of the blue. It's like, wait a second. How did you get that good that fast? That's not possible. And I mean, hey.
Now, there are a lot of problems in speedrunning communities, right?
Yeah.
Especially because like there were things like speedrun.com is pretty much where all the best scores for speedruns are kept, and that's the more trustworthy site now. But there was a problem when, much like when high scores were being held by Twin Galaxy, there were some speedruns that were being held by them too. And we already talked about the issues with Twin Galaxy. There were a lot of Billy Mitchells and stuff like that there. But there's also now a problem with infiltration of that community in the same way that you're getting it in like every other hobby and pastime, right? Where like Games Done Quick has become this boring, sterile experience because even some of the best speedrunners aren't invited anymore due to having problems with certain individuals that have worked their way up to the top.
Yeah, but that's Games Done Quick. It's like,
but Games Done Quick is a it was a prestigious place in the speedrun community, and now a lot of people are just kind of moving away from it because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fine. If they want to have the speedrunning community move away from them, they're doing a great job. And I mean, I think, honestly, from the speedrunners that I've watched, I have no idea what their politics are, and I don't care. I don't want to know, because they're sitting there speedrunning.
It's that old school mentality of like, I just wanted to play video games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think the community is like, and that's how they act, I think, which is great. So, I mean, Games Done Quick wants to do their stupid ass shit. Oh, look, they're live right now. Fine. But people are going to watch them less and less, and nobody's really going to respect it. So, I mean, when I first subscribed to them, which wasn't that long ago, on Twitch, I was just like, you log in and it's like you got pronouns all over the place. I'm like, oh Christ. I'm like, come on. Who cares? So, anyway, our chat is obviously having a discussion about comic books, but we're not.
Yeah. Well, because I did bring up heavy metal, and Dillard had no idea what it was. So
good. I didn't know what it was until they started insulting customers a couple weeks ago.
Well, there's a movie too, like the was it 80s or whatever. That heavy metal movie was related.
Really?
Yeah, that was Heavy Metal Magazine. That's what it was. It was their publication. Did you not know that?
Huh. I did not know it was related.
Yeah.
I assumed, I was like shocked, like, because I'd never heard of Heavy Metal magazine. Well, I mean, not that maybe I'd seen it on newsstands or whatever, but wasn't in my head. So like when I saw it, like I said, I assumed it was some newish indie.
No, they've been around for quite some time. Longer than I've been alive.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, well, that's why it was a big deal, right? I mean, I do agree with Joshua. People did overreact to it, especially because, like, most of the people that really made it what it was aren't around anymore. Of course, Cross Comics knew about Heavy Metal magazine. It's from his neck of the woods.
Wow, it's been around since before I was born.
Yeah, it's a pretty
exactly 1 month before I was born.
Yeah, so it's like when you see something as prestigious as that, yeah, yell at their fans, you're like, yeah, it's just one more publication down the drain. That's my attitude on all this stuff too, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything's been going that way. I'm not surprised to see anything that's at like a corporate level respond to people like that, right? For the most part, you're only really going to get indie companies that are treating their fans right. Well, not even just their fans, they're consumers right. That's the most important one, because nobody really cares about a fanatic unless the fanatic happens to be like a turbo consumer. Those are the ones you like, but there are fanatics who don't even spend money in your product.
Yeah.
And it's like, unless you're good for advertisement, I really don't care about you.
What is Jiller going on about?
I don't know.
So yeah, it's funny. I wonder if they're like,
that's right.
We're
Avery did have some
old.
stuff in there.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to us. We'll be around forever.
Well, I think that's what everybody thinks, right? Like every company.
Yeah, that's why these indie companies are like, no, we want every customer we can get. We don't care what your politics are. We're not going to yell at you. You yell at us, we'll say, sorry, what can we do better? Sorry you don't like our products, but
yeah,
hopefully we'll make something better than you like.
Every like entertainment industry too, like that, you're getting that everywhere. With very few exceptions, right? Like, there's certain Japanese companies that are still kind of fine, but they're having problems of their own. That is like, if you want gaming, the indie developers tend to be the only ones that actually really care about what the consumer wants. Animation, people making stuff online, well, for the most part, they're just making what they want, but if it's not getting enough traction compared to other things, those like, well, there's other things I want to do that'll gain more traction, they'll work on that instead. When you see more of like the independent, the underground, the garage sphere of things, a lot of it is it's passionate. People are making what they want, but they're also trying to make things that other people want. So they're trying to find like a healthy middle ground between there.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about this ROM site?
What ROM site?
They got
What's going on? Well, that doesn't surprise me. Didn't Nintendo also sue Cool ROM, and that's why it's not around anymore?
I guess so. Not that you can't. It's not that you can't find it elsewhere, but
yeah.
ROM Universe was shut down last summer. You ever heard of ROM Universe?
Yeah.
Got sued by Nintendo. Didn't hire a lawyer for some reason. And lost in federal court, and now Microsoft $2.15 million. Which it's surprisingly low. In fact, Nintendo was asking for $15 million, so I guess he's lucky he only owes $2 million.
Yeah. Well, where's he even going to get that $2 million?
That's the problem. It's the next step for Nintendo is actually trying to collect on that. Just because you get a judgment against you doesn't mean that they can collect. I mean, if he has it, I'm sure they'll get it. If he doesn't have it, well, oh well. You're out of luck.
Yeah, it was the case in like the U.S. Was it a U.S. citizen or who was hosting the site?
Well, it was in U.S. District Court.
Okay. Because there's a thing about our laws where for civil cases there is a no fault collection. Like you can be in debt to somebody and they can keep collecting, but you can't be like sent to jail or something like that for things that are non-criminal to pay your dues to someone.
Yeah. It doesn't say where the site was actually located or where
Well,
the
as long as it was
owner
in
named.
U.S. court, that's all that matters.
Yeah, the owner Matthew Storman. Oh yeah, he lives in L.A.
Yeah.
So all right, he's
Yeah,
screwed.
so they're not collecting. He probably doesn't have any money anyway if he lives in L.A.
Well, it depends how much the site made. I mean, it's possible that the site made a lot of money in advertising or whatever.
Yeah, that's possible.
Depends. But
then again, he also lives in
apparently-
LA, so whatever money the site made probably just paid for a studio apartment.
Yeah.
Living in LA is ridiculous.
Well. Okay, you're right. He doesn't have any money. It says, even though it's a lot lower than the 15 million Nintendo was looking for, Storman's only source of income at this time is unemployment and food stamps.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's probably why he didn't hire a lawyer, because he's probably like, well, okay, what's the worst case? They win and good luck collecting. You know. But as far as I know, a judgment like that doesn't expire, so if he ever does pull his life out of the gutter, then
well, there technically is a way it can expire. Now, a debt like that doesn't go towards, say, bankruptcy or defaulting or anything like that. Like, you can't go into default because you owe somebody money like that. But if due to the rest of your life you have to file and you end up defaulting, you can't actually be clear of the debt after so many years. I think the state picks it up on your behalf.
From what I understand, you can declare bankruptcy and potentially get that debt removed or reduced. But
I think there's a problem because was it Nintendo of America particularly that sued them? Because if it's an international company, that complicates things.
I think it was Nintendo of America.
Okay.
But
well,
from
if
what
it's
I understand,
just
it
Nintendo
doesn't
of America,
expire,
then
but
you could
basically-
probably call bankruptcy on it.
Yeah. I don't know how it works. I've never been sued. It doesn't actually say, but it just says Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. What's the point of awarding money on top of jail time? I don't know. Typically, jail time's only for criminal cases, though, so I'm not usually familiar with that. Unless, like, maybe if the person's, like, a billionaire or something. It's like you put a billionaire in jail. Whatever time they spend in jail, is that really them serving their debt to society? Especially if what they did was billions and billions of dollars worth of trouble. You don't really see, like, a fine on top of jail time for people in the lower class of society. That's usually only for, like, rich people that has caused, like, mass amounts of damage. So it probably has to do something to, like, their way of equity, I guess would be the case. Balancing the scale.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard of a case where some lower class person had a fine on top of jail time? Because typically the jail time is the way of paying off the fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this case, this was in civil court, so
yeah, in civil court,
go to jail.
It doesn't have a risk of prison or anything like that. Does have a risk of debt collection though, and debt collection can be like living in a prison.
Sort of. Good luck buying a house or whatever, if you've got that on your record.
Oh, no, it can be awful. And they'll always know where you live. Like, you even if you moved anywhere, it doesn't matter. If you were renting directly from somebody who owns a house and you're just living in their attic or garage or something like that, like, they'll still find out where you are immediately. You can't go anywhere when you owe a debt like that.
Yeah. Find you.
But, there's something far more interesting than that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's been unearthed after 28 years sleeping like a giant in its nap, hibernating. And they have a new cut of the Super Mario Brothers movie, that travesty that I love so much. Yeah. They're calling it the Morton Jenkel cut, after the two co-directors of the movie. And they're trying to restore it so that you can watch it in, I guess, up to 4K or something. There does need to be some restoration on it. It's 28 years old in a reel. But I'm excited. There's like never before seen like scenes in the movie that also kind of explain the grim, dark dystopia that it takes place in. Because they're trying to sell like a cyberpunk type movie because they didn't think any adult would give a shit about Mario. Back in like, when did this happen? 93, I think, is when this movie came out.
Apparently. It makes it over 2 hours long. Jeez.
Yeah. You know what? I'll watch it. In fact, if I get a hold of it, we'll have a screening in the Vomitorium Discord. Everyone's welcome to watch it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm trying to figure out where it is because apparently it's been just released by fans.
Yeah.
Like, where did they get it?
Will it make it better or worse? I'm hoping for the latter, but for me, I can only get the former.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. I may have found it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm excited. Like, you have no idea how much I love this horrible movie. And that's the thing. You're allowed to like bad things. You're allowed to like awful things, as long as you understand the level of quality of the thing you like. I unashamedly like a lot of just not good media. There's something enjoyable about it,
Yeah.
I watch this movie like the normal version almost once a year.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long, long time. Well, there you go. You should join the Vomitorium Discord. Yeah. Link should be in the description below.
I do too, Elric. Elric loves the... Yeah. I do too. It's a horrible movie. It's probably the worst Batman film, and I'm even saying that with the Dark Knight trilogy existing. But I love everything about it with how bad it is.
I've never actually seen the live-action Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch that one too. Yeah, it's awful, but it's great because it's got this one thing with the Thieves Gauntlet, and they have to run it, and they almost die running it, and I love it. There's a lot of stupid things in that movie that are great.
See, what they need, although they'd probably screw it up, is a live-action Dragonlance movie. I heard that they were going to do that.
I don't know.
Is that not happening? Like with all the characters and stuff.
I don't know. I know Dragon's Lair is getting a movie.
Dragons. Oh, yeah. But that's by the original creators, right?
Yes. Don Bluth is working on the movie. but it's a live action movie. Ryan Reynolds is playing Dirk. I think we've talked about this before. It was supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was pushed back because of the whole, COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still waiting for it.
It was originally crowdfunded.
Mm-hmm.
Although the original crowdfunding was for an animated movie.
film. Yeah. Who was Doug Walker was one of the ones that helped. He made the pitch video and everything for that with Don Bluth in it. Help make Dragon's Lair a movie. And there was like a cheap explosions and stuff, and it was a pretty funny video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never got to see. Did they release? I know they did. They did basically like a trailer or a short film with the money that they crowdfunded, just to sort of pitch the full thing.
I don't remember.
Did they ever release that? Oh no. But I am downloading the new Super Mario Brothers movie, even as we speak.
Yeah. When are we watching it? I don't know. We haven't planned yet. This is all new.
Yeah. I didn't realize until just now that it was just out there, that you could just download it.
It'd be funny if we should do like a modern remake of the movie that like covers most of the same events, but continues the story, like how they do that sometimes. And it should be called the new Super Mario Brothers movie, just because it like how Nintendo does new Super Mario Brothers and stuff.
Yeah, like an actual sequel?
Yeah, like a sequel, but it does most of the same stuff. Just like new Super Mario Brothers.
But make it just as awful and just as...
Oh, yes.
The same...
We can't get all the same actors, obviously. It'd have to be new actors, but... I mean, half of them are gone. I mean, rip Bob Hoskins.
Well, didn't they sort of set up a sequel? Seemed like they
at the end. Daisy, as they called her, she was supposed to be Princess Toadstool, kicks like the door in, and she's like wearing her own kind of like plumber, renegade rebel outfit thing with a gun in her hand, and she's like, "I need your help." And Mario just starts pulling on his tool belt. He's like, "I believe." He's like, "You believe?" "I believe." And then it just cuts right there. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah. Are they going to Sahasra Land or something to rescue the real Daisy?
No, they're being attacked by a giant frog.
Aha.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then they find out at the end that it was all a dream.
Yeah, it was all just a dream. Mario wakes up with a slice of pizza just like on his belly. He's like, "Huh." Shouldn't have believed.
Gross. Uh-oh, Dario has another idea for a buckler story. I'm scared.
Yeah. There was talks about it, like, let's see. Beyond the number of extended scenes, which adds a new 20 minutes of footage, there was also unreleased scenes. Some of them, one where Iggy and Spike rap. They do a whole rap. Which can only make the movie better.
Could it though?
Yes. It's like about how they want to overthrow King Koopa. It's stupid and it's great at the same time, according to to Gilchrist, the guy who's in charge of the Mario archiving thing.
Yeah. The Morton Schenkel cut. Extended VHS. Wow.
Oh man, I'm excited. Oh.
Yeah, when are we gonna watch it?
I don't know. What sounds like a good time?
Anytime.
Anytime
this week or whatever. Yeah.
How about Wednesday after the show?
All right.
Wednesday seems like a good day, right in the middle, just the hump day of the week.
Yeah.
Probably give us like
For about
at
2
least
hours.
maybe half an hour to wrap up and do anything else, and then we can hop in and watch it. So that'll
Yeah,
be like 9:30 Central Time.
sounds good to me. Put it on my calendar.
Do you want to host the stream since you already started downloading it, or?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay.
I have decent upload speeds.
Cool, cool, cool.
At least I have since I stopped working on my neighborhood internet lines.
Yeah, those streams have been kind of a pain while they were doing that. You just get the oops face like 5 times in a stream.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of illegally streaming copyrighted content, Twitch has been hit with another wave of DMCA takedowns.
Yes, I saw that like last week and we didn't talk about it. It was one of the ones I'd pulled up.
Yeah. I didn't get any. I guess it's just for people who play music in the background. I mean, not you and not me, because you're just playing OC Remix. That's all I ever play. So it's
Yeah,
not
most of the time,
really,
even if you
it's
play
not copy-
video game music, they don't really care. I mean, you might get like hit with a claim or something, but because the whole site's
Well, I'll
centered
tell you,
around
I've
video
had-
games, most people don't actually
Yeah.
get like hit for video game music.
Yeah, exactly. What's funny is on YouTube, I've been hit with hundreds and hundreds of copyright claims on video game stuff.
Yeah.
And on Twitch, 0.
Yeah.
Not on wood. Never. 'Cause I've never played like actual copyrighted music except during video games, in which case it's essentially fair use.
And it's
because
easy
I'm
to dispute too.
substantially-
Like you just hit the dispute, and more often than not, you win the case.
Oh yeah, on YouTube, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I dispute every single one, and 99 times out of 100, it disappears. Not that it wouldn't. I mean, I'm not monetized on YouTube anyway, so it really wouldn't matter. But still, it just bugs me to have it sitting there. I've had it on there for year on videos that have been up there for years, and I was like, oh, I never got around to disputing that. And I go and dispute it. But never on Twitch. So don't play copyrighted music on Twitch.
Yeah, yeah. Don't play like Guns N' Roses or anything like that.
Yeah. Especially heavy metal, they seem to be particularly.
Oh yeah. Well, it's because there's a lot of gamers that are into heavy metal, so I don't know if it's because they have a particular like bots or whatever that pick that up. I think it's because it's being played more than anything else.
Yeah. Somebody. Oops, that's the wrong site. Somebody suggested, maybe it's on my laptop. I was watching a streamer who was playing some really cool music, but it was, I couldn't recognize it. So I was like, I'm guessing it's not copyrighted. It turns out they paid for it, but it is copyrighted music, but it's copyrighted music that you can pay for from Epidemic Sound. And so I was going to actually look into, and it sounded really like cool stuff, like the kind of stuff that streamers often talk streamers often play in the background, except in this case, it's 100% legal. You won't get a DMCA strike, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, there are ways, and if you don't want to pay for it, look for non-copyrighted stuff. Or
Well, actually, I know somebody who's really affordable for the level of talent that you could look into. Username Gwyn, very very talented person, very affordable. I think her rates were like GWINN. I found her because she's in a Discord that's it. I'm also in, and she did like her own background tracks to like the JoJo's manga, and all the songs are great. Like every single song she makes is great. It's like $50 per 30 seconds of music, which is like that's really affordable for how good the music is too.
This is
and
just
once you pay
like
for it, the track
music?
is yours forever.
Is she only on Discord or on Twitter?
No, she's on Twitter and email and stuff like that. And I don't know if she has a Twitch. She's in the YouTube channel that you can find. Listen to the music.
Would she be willing to do the music for a Buckler beat 'em up game?
Oh yeah, sure. As long as you're willing to pay.
There you go. All right, John.
Yeah.
We've got a lead.
I actually have to make fun of John for a second. Dillard said that J.J. Abrams is a fantastic action director, and I'm going to have to say you couldn't be any more wrong. J.J. Abrams is an absolute hack and makes horrible action scenes.
But don't hire him for the Buckler movie.
Yeah. The only thing J.J. Abrams has ever been good at, and this does help in action scenes, but everything else in the scene suffers, is Abrams only good at cinematography. Like the angles and stuff like that. But even then, he's not that great, though, because he's piss poor with lighting.
Michael Bay should direct the Buckler movie. There going to be a lot of explosions in this movie?
I guess. I mean, most of Michael Bay's movies have a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
I liked Armageddon.
More like Jar Jar Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Armageddon too. Did we ever talk about that joke that Hard Drive magazine or whatever it's called put up on Twitter?
I don't know what joke you're talking about.
Not to change the subject or anything. What's funny is
it one of those ones that ended up getting all these journalists because they forget that Hard Drive is a satirical platform?
Yeah. Hard Drive magazine put up a tweet, actually of a 3-year-old article that initially went up because IGN had stolen a review from a small YouTuber that had plagiarized it.
Yeah.
So this article went up in 2018, and the article was IGN writer excited to start playing game he just finished reviewing. And they tweeted that out on May 29th, and holy shit, it got so many journalists mad. Hose mad.
It's true.
Hose very, very mad. It's true. It says IGN writer Austin Rivera expressed his excitement this week to begin playing his advanced copy of Call of Duty Black Ops. I have to click on it. Black Ops 4, a game which he just finished reviewing for the prestigious video game website. And all these people are like, oh, this is such a bad time for that. You're hurting journalists' reputations. Oh.
Hurting? If anything, that's helping their reputation. It's already so low. Joking about it, at least, there's some levity. Maybe people would like it more if you took the joke on the chin.
Yeah. Seriously, well, they're not taking it. Yeah, no, they're continuing. Now, Hard Drive, to their, credit, hasn't apologized, hasn't taken down the tweet. They're just moving on with their lives. And to this date, that tweet has 33,000 likes.
It's one of my favorite ones historically was, and this one's kind of true too, long-time Earthbound fans excited to play the game for the first time. And it gets re-released like every time Mother 2 gets put on like a virtual channel or something like that.
Yes, I was happy to admit that I was never a long-time fan of Earthbound.
Yeah.
But, after playing it, I definitely see why I wish that I had been.
Oh, yeah, like, I would say I appreciated what I knew about it before I played it, but I would never call myself a fan of a game I haven't played yet.
Yeah. But anyway, the only reason I bring that up is that, like, I replied once, and, like, I get, like, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but like I keep getting likes for my reply. I'm like, God damn. My reply was, I guess, 3 days ago, but still, I'm like, apparently, a lot of people like to laugh at journalists. Put it that way. Games journalists in particular. So
Well,
thought
I
I'd
mean,
bring it up.
they're a laughing stock, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. What about the guy who directed the Deadpool movies? Who is that?
I don't even remember his name. The movies, well, it was a different director for each one. Because the director of the first one walked out. I know who should direct the Canadian Shield. Schumacher. Timothy actually already said this too. Yeah, I agree. Schumacher should totally direct the Canadian Shield. He was the guy who picked up the Batman movies after Burton left. He's the one that, he asked what killed the dinosaurs. The Ice Age.
Oh.
It was Mr. Freeze. We were talking about Batman and Robin earlier.
Very disappointed in you, Metal.
Yeah. Because the Ice Age actually didn't kill the dinosaurs, but that's what he asked. It was in the movie because it was just ice puns, the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, I've got it. Been downloaded.
Nice.
Super Mario Brothers 1993, the Morton Jankel cut.
It's going to be great. I'm gonna have everybody join the Discord. It's below in the description of wherever you're watching this live. Maybe I'll put the link in the description. I don't know. For the SoundCloud. Or you can just find one of our other channels if you're listening to this later and join it. Or the Twitter. I think I actually have it in the description of the Twitter too. It's really not hard to find our Discord link. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Alric will be praying for me, apparently.
Mm-hmm. But not me.
Well,
because he knows I'm going to enjoy it.
Sure, I'll enjoy it too. Like I said, well, you've seen it recently, apparently. I haven't seen it in years and years, so.
That's, last time I watched it was August.
Oh, so it's almost been a year.
Almost, yeah. It's about time to watch it again.
Yeah, apparently.
Probably going to go download this just so I can have a copy of it on my hard drive.
Mm-hmm. So you said, did you say this before we went live about the World of Warcraft servers?
Oh, yes. The classic server for Burning Crusade got a DDoS attack like immediately as the Dark Portal went live.
I don't understand why you can't guard against that. Or can you? I mean, you can. But do you have to like see where it's coming from first before you can block it?
Because the problem is one way that people used to block against this, because League had this problem early on in the day when their servers were a lot smaller. The bigger your server gets, the harder it is to do a DDoS attack anyway, because it can just handle a bigger load. But they used to have like a queue to get into the game because how small the servers were at the time. And on patch day specifically, which is when you're most vulnerable for a DDoS attack, and this is kind of what happened here. I remember back in the day in like season 1 of League, it would even have like the Dragon Ball joke, your position in the queue was over 9,000. That's how many people would be queued up to get in. And that's one way, but you could still get an attack because all that needs to happen is one person in the queue who's linked up to where the attack is coming from has to get in. And once they're in, boom. But still having the queue, it means, well, maybe the server will be down for 15 minutes as they address the attack, and then they let more people in and stuff. It's easier to address an attack that way. There was no queue to get into the Burning Crusade because people don't really do that much anymore unless their servers are so overloaded. You know who still had queues to get in? because just how many people on the server. Final Fantasy 14, as big as their servers are, they still have queues to get into the worlds.
Sounds like it's popular.
Yeah.
Well,
But maybe we're going to see
So a lot
WoW
of
start
people-
having queues again so they can address these things.
Yeah. So I mean, is it gone now? Have they fixed it? Have they blocked it?
Yeah, I believe everything is running fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was unplayable, I think, for what, an hour? Let me look. They had the time frame on here. And for what people don't understand, a DDoS attack is basically where you flood the bandwidth of the server, right? You target it, and you overload it, and everything comes to a halt. More often than not, people use it against an individual. Like if you're playing a game and they're tired of losing and they just want to win, they'll find your IP, which is easy to track because you're in a game with them at the moment, and they'll just flood your network. Specifically, you will grind to a halt, but the rest of the game will be running fine, and you'll basically be in the process of disconnecting, reconnecting over and over again, and then they'll just win while you can't do anything. But you know, they also do it to servers. PSN has had DDoS attacks before and stuff, and it takes a lot more to take down a server, but the people who do this, they have no problem. They've got a lot of machines that they can flood this bandwidth.
Yeah, it's often like, don't they get like zombie machines?
Yeah.
They've downloaded some sort of virus or something.
Or what they do is,
have.
well, you know how like now with virtual server space, you can basically just create virtual machines within a system. What they'll do is they'll connect a machine that they don't care about. Right, they're not running anything on it other than that, and then they'll start just making a bunch of virtual machines within that device as it's in the server, and then each of those virtual machines will also start connecting to the server, which will start taking up bandwidth.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like a worm, but single target.
Well. Yeah. It's like, well, do I really feel bad for Blizzard? No. Not really.
No, not really.
Sure, they got it taken care of eventually.
Yeah, so what they're doing is to combat this, Blizzard is going to employ the use of layers, which will siphon off groups of players onto separate instances of the same server, allowing for more stability. That's another way of doing it. Queues help too, but if you want everybody on the same thing. But you know, old games used to do this too, where you would have several instances and you'd be in the same place as other people, but if you wanted to play specifically with a friend, you have to move over to their instance, and a lot of times the party or looking for group joiner will move you to their instance anyway. It's a very common thing to do in MMOs. Sometimes they call them channels.
Well, if I wanted to just try an MMO again for like a month, and I haven't played an MMO in years, would you recommend I try World of Warcraft Classic original, version, or Final Fantasy 14?
Oh, 14. I'll tell you, actually, what I'm about to try is, I think it drops on the 9th, is Phantasy Star Online New Genesis, right? Which is like 2. It's the same game functionally, like it plays the same, but instead of being like a hub world game, it is actually an open world exploration on a planet. So it's more like traditional MMOs in that way.
And that is an RPG.
Yeah.
So there's like leveling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's.
It's an action RPG, but it's an RPG. Yeah, it's got all that stuff. I mean, I was playing it with Rick, and I was like level 90 or whatever,
I'll might have to check that out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some space in my hard drive to play it.
Yeah, I'm wanting to try something at least for a month just to see, but
yeah.
I haven't decided if it's going to be Final Fantasy, or I guess I'll look at Phantasy Star or what.
Yeah. I kind of want to get into 14. It's just, the problem is when you're playing free, you can't be in parties with other free players. Now, if you have a friend who's paying for it, they can invite you to their party. But a free player can't play with another free player unless I don't know, like 3 free
I don't
players
like
were
playing
in a
in
paid
parties.
play. Yeah.
Can you solo it?
Yeah, you
For a
could solo
while, at
most
least?
things up until you get to, like, the raid level.
Yeah.
Which probably what I'm
That's
going
the
to end up
problem. I
doing
wanna
if I
try
ever
it,
get
but I
back
don't-
to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna get into Phantasy Star 2, the new one, whatever it's called, maybe I should do that so that I can play with you.
Yeah. Because I think that one's much like the original PSO2. I'm pretty sure that's just free to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if I have to pay for it, but would it be? So, is this an expansion?
No, it's a standalone game, but it communicates with the same servers. So you actually can carry a character over between both games.
Okay, so it'd
It's
be
the same
worthwhile to
account.
get started now
Yeah, it could be.
and start a character. Okay. I just want to make sure if it comes out in a week or whatever, I wouldn't be starting all over.
Well, I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know if your characters have different levels or whatever, but they haven't described exactly what transfers over, but you can use the same character. It'll be like another instance of the character. They haven't been too full. I think you keep your levels. There just might be different moves, so you'll have to unlock like different spells and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Maybe I'll just stick with Fantasian. We'll see.
But I'm excited for it. And we're at the end of the show.
Apparently apparently Fantasian is what they've released is like part 1 and it's fairly short. So I'm interested to see how long it takes to get through it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the show. Thank you everybody for coming on and watching. If you enjoy the show, please share it with somebody else who might enjoy it. And if you really like it, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.